What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Labelless Podcast. I am your host, Bryce Landers, and today we're rocking solo. It'll be just me, myself, and I talking about how we can remove principles from your life, how I've just in the last month removed labels from my life using the principles, using the things that were taught through the previous episodes of the podcast. So if you haven't watched any of my episodes, if you haven't listened to them on Apple, go check them out, subscribe to the channel, watch those videos, because those are incredible episodes, so much practical knowledge that you can take and apply today, whether you're in the real estate field, whether you're working in tech, whether you're doing anything. You can use these principles, you can take them and apply them and remove a label from your life, remove something from your life that's going to allow you to move forward, that's going to make you lighter and just help you move to that next level of success, whatever that is. So go check those out, like them, subscribe them, and hope you enjoyed this episode. So I wanted to come on here today and talk about some of the different learnings that I've been able to just accomplish, been able to really apply and move forward in my life with, from all of the incredible guests. Now, some of the podcasts have been released, some are in the editing phase, and they're going to be coming soon. If you haven't checked out any of the previous episodes, again, go check those out because the guests are incredible. Go follow them, go reach out to them, because they are just so helpful. And like I've just talked about with everyone pretty much, successful people want to help you. If you're not successful and if you're not around successful people, it's because of some sort of internal blocker, some sort of label that you put on your life that makes you feel, whether it's unworthiness or you don't trust people, or there's some reason, there's some label that when you were a child, when you were a teenager, maybe even when you were a baby, you got that label put on you and you've been living life with that label. And that's exactly what we're here to do on this podcast, is remove those labels from your life. So go check those out because they're going to help so much, because I know factually that they've helped me just in the last month, where I've been where I was at. So at the time of this recording, it's December 7th, and it's when I started the podcast. It was back in, I think, September, maybe October. It was a challenge. It was a project put on by the great Pace Morby, incredible person, incredible mentor, and I hope to interview him one day. But it was a challenge and it was a assignment put on by him to grow. And I always wanted to put on a podcast, and then here was a mentor, here was someone that was challenging me, that was helping me grow. And again, it's about getting around the right people. So if you're around successful people, they're going to teach you, they're going to elevate you, and that's exactly what's been happening over the last month, 2 months, 3 months. So every single episode that I've recorded, every person that I've interviewed, they talk about getting around successful people. And so what I wanted to talk about was my journey, what I experienced in the last month, just the last month, the beginning of November, maybe it was the end of October, about getting around successful people. And that was just such a tough journey, because again, I hopped on a podcast with Pace Morby and Abraham Gray, Carl Allen, Chris Moore, all just very successful entrepreneurs. And I was listening because if you're following this channel, if you watch any of my clips, if we've had a conversation, you'll know my goal is to study all things creative finance. I'm in the process of purchasing businesses, and this channel is about my journey buying businesses. Now, I have this podcast as well because I want to interview successful people. I want to get around successful people, but I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to purchase successful businesses and be able to make them even more successful, turn them around, you name it. And so in doing that, you have to get, first of all, you have to get uncomfortable. Second of all, you have to just get around successful people. I'll probably say that 100 times, so hopefully you don't get bored of it. And side note, when people do solo podcasts, I don't know if anyone on here has done a solo podcast. They definitely don't talk about how hard it is to breathe while you're talking. Maybe it's just me, but I'm struggling here, so bear with me. But getting around successful people, and so I'm on this podcast with Pace Morby. I just randomly driving one day and I see a pop-up on my YouTube, and it's Pace Morby started a podcast, his weekly podcast, but he started an episode with Abraham Gray, Carl Allen, Chris Moore, and they were talking about this event that they were doing coming up called Creative Con Dealmaker Weekend, something I had never heard about. And I'm a sub 2 student, and getting around Pace has always been just great since I've joined, and I just want to get in those rooms every chance I can get, from the just local meetups, or if it's an event Pace is doing, I'm there. And so he's doing this podcast, and they start talking about this event that's coming up. I'm like, oh shoot, like I got to go to this event. I don't know when it is, but I need to get there. And so I'm driving and I'm listening. I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be cool if this event was free. And I was really hoping it would be free, because that's my budget, free. And so I'm driving, and they send the link, and there's like so many great speakers on there. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this event is. I don't know how it is, but I have to go there. And so in my head, I'm like, man, it would be great if this was free. Like, I don't know how much I can spend to get to this event, but free is in my budget. So I submit the request, and they give me a call next day, 2 days later or whatever. And when they said the price, it wasn't free, but it was an amount that honestly was uncomfortable. And I heard that, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it. Every excuse in the book, which I've had it. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Something else is going to come up. You name it. I was coming up with every excuse while I was on that phone call with amazing man. Met him at the event, Berger, and we were talking and going back and forth. And so I'm like, you know what? Call me back tomorrow. But at this point, even though the number was intimidating, even though I couldn't fathom like paying for the event, I knew I had to be there. I knew that I needed to get in those rooms, because if I was serious about my goals, if I was serious about what I said I wanted to do, I really had nothing to lose. Because at the end of the day, I knew that good was going to come from it. I knew that I was going to commit to put in the work. And so like it was a no-brainer that I had to be there. But the whole time I just couldn't stop thinking about how uncomfortable it was. So thought about it and overnight, and then I just pulled the trigger. And of course I had to do the VIP experience. It was my first event ever like this. I've gone to kind of different smaller conferences and stuff like that, but getting in this room, I'm like, okay, it's a no-brainer, because the VIPs, the top tier, you get extra access. You get an extra day with the speakers. You get an extra day with all of the other guests. You get an extra day to associate and be with these entrepreneurs. So I'm like, okay, well, I just have to do it. I'm like so uncomfortable. I'm so scared of the results, but I know no matter what, I have to do this. And so turns out it was the greatest decision of my life. I use that term, greatest decision of my life, loosely, because I think every decision has been the greatest decision I've made, because it's led me to this point. Now, there's been some bad decisions with that, but my perspective still remains the same, because everything is either learning or it's actually a great decision. It's just there's only good that can come from it. So I use that loosely, and I'm still so young. I have so many years of life left, so there's still so many great decisions that can be made. But up until this point, that was the greatest decision of my life. And the outcome from that, which I'll get into in a minute, is just incredible. But when I showed up to the event, even before I showed up to the event, the circumstances leading up to it, I had some work commitments that I had to do, but there was everything that was trying to get me not to go to this event. And over the last year, 2 years, I've been working a lot on boundaries. I've been working a lot on myself and growth. And I've finally gotten to a point that I'm just very comfortable through association, of course, through getting around successful people further than me, people better in that area. They've been able to teach me, maybe not directly, but indirectly, and seeing how they operate and learning from them, I've been able to just elevate my game that much more. And so I was able to enforce those boundaries, but everything was trying to get me not to go. The enemy, the devil, Satan, the universe, whatever you want to say, was trying to stop me from getting into that room, because it was the day before, it was like, oh, like, we need you to stay, we need you to do all of this extra stuff. I'm like, no, I absolutely cannot stay. I have to go. I have a personal matter. I have to get to this event. And so that alone told me that I made the right decision, and I was going to make the most of it. Now, when your back's against the wall, you can do one of two things. You can just give up and cave and completely lose all of your integrity, completely lose all of your heart, and just succumb to whatever it is that's pushing you up against the wall, or you can fight back. And that's exactly what I did. And I think that's exactly what winners do. And that is a label that you can remove from your life, is whether you're a quitter or someone that keeps fighting. Because again, labels get put on your life for some reason or another. When you're a child, maybe you did quit some things when you're a kid. That does not define you for the rest of your life. That was a moment that you can learn from and take further, take with you, and like a what not to do. But that doesn't define you. And so remove that label from your life and just move forward. But the next thing, after all of this drama, after all of these issues, was getting to the event. And what a lot of people do, and I've been guilty of it more times than I can count, is they'll do these things, they'll stretch, they'll like pay the money, they'll do whatever they can, but then they'll regret their decision. And it won't necessarily be legit regret, thinking, oh my God, I made such a bad decision, why am I here? But you regret it with your actions, and you show up to an event like this, and all you can do is think about anything but the event. Like, you're thinking about your kids, you're thinking about your bills that you have at home, you're thinking about all the money that you spent before you went to the event. And that is taking away from your experience in the event. And that's not only big events, but that's everyday life. If you're living in the past, if you're living and thinking about every single decision you made and regret, you need to let that go, because you can't truly embrace the moment. My life started to change. My life started to really move forward when I started to live in the moment. Do I plan for the future? Absolutely. Do I act like I'm working for the future? Absolutely. But when I'm in the moment, I strive very hard to be in the moment. So that was the biggest thing I was going to do. When I was there, I was going to be there. And so this was 4 days from 8 a.m. to 6 or whatever we did, but just incredible event. And if you haven't watched my recap video, go watch that video. That'll be posted. That'll be on the channel. Just go see first event, vlog that. And it was just, I mean, a great experience. But from day one, the first conversation I had was maybe 2 hours. I don't even know how long it was, but we were clicking, we were connecting, and that was just like reassurance from God that it's like, yeah, you're in the right place, you made the right decision. And from that point on, the people that I got placed next to, not only did we talk, not only did we have a great time, but we've created honestly a lifelong relationship. These are people that are way more successful than me, and I just wanted to get around them. But I am so grateful, and I tell them every single day as we work on deals, as we work on collaborating, and we have formed a partnership, I tell them almost every single day how grateful I am, because the opportunity of just getting around them, getting around their brain, getting around successful people that are willing to help you, it's been just like, I can't even put it into words what it's done just for everything in my life. And so I'm just so grateful for them. And so not only did I embrace that, but the conversations outside of that, every single person was so friendly, so nice. The deals that were getting done in the room were incredible. And to see that kind of caliber of deals, of mergers, of acquisitions, whatever you want to call it, the business deals, the businesses being purchased, were just incredible. And this event was Creative Con. It was about creative financing. It was about buying businesses creatively and then buying real estate, buying land, you name it. It was about creative finance. And so not only was the information incredible, that was honestly icing on the cake, was the information that the event provided, but the relationships, the amount of successful people you could get around in this event was really the bread and butter, because that's where your success is going to come from the long run, is getting around successful people that can help you and can take you to move forward. So what happened after the event? And I mean, gosh, every single day at the event, I think I had tears in my eyes just of gratitude, which is another principle. If you are upset, if you have just like, oh, well, I'm not a grateful person, and you've lived your life with that label, if you've lived your life with a grumpy label, with a bitterness label, you need to remove that ASAP, because gratitude truly is a superpower. And the faster you can grab a hold of gratitude, the faster you can grab a hold of thankfulness, you're going to move forward in your life. And that's exactly what happened for me this weekend. So getting to the point, getting to kind of the results from what happened, with some of the relationships I've formed with just in the last month since coming out of this, I've already made my ticket money back 3 times. Now, I'll say that again. I made my ticket money back 3 times just by getting around the right people and doing something that scared me and being uncomfortable. Because honestly, I think I didn't talk to everybody, but I think I was probably the least successful person in that room. Now, I have skills. I have things that I've been able to accomplish. I have a lot of diverse background. I've been able to do different things. So I have value that I can add. And I believe I can add value to anybody. I believe that I have something that everybody can use. That's another subject. But just from business success, I'm probably the least experienced and the least successful of the people in that room, because of the companies that they've ran, the deals that they've been able to do, from real estate deals to mergers and acquisition deals to land deals, you name it. And so just getting in that room, I was able to get my ticket money back 3 times, which was crazy. And that's not the future deals that are coming. That's not from the long-term relationships that have been established and the deals that we currently are working, the long-term agreements that we've made. That's just up to this point, 1 month out of the event. So would I do it again? Absolutely 10 times. And so I plan on never missing another event moving forward. And I know if I have a gut feeling that says don't go, or that is like trying to make me uncomfortable, there's things that are trying to stop me, if the enemy is trying to stop me, I am absolutely going to be there. So let's talk take home. Let's talk application. How can you apply this in your life? Because I don't like to talk. I don't like to just rant for no reason to rant. This podcast is about removing labels, and I want to help you remove a label from your life. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing, before anything, is you have to create a habit of discipline. You have to create a habit of getting uncomfortable. You just have to get used to doing things that you wouldn't normally do, because the world says You know, if you feel good, if it makes you happy, if it makes you feel good, you should do that because that's what's going to make you happy. But reality is you do that and you feel terrible afterwards. It doesn't matter what it is. I love chicken wings, but every time I eat chicken wings, I eat too many and I feel terrible. So you have to do the things that are uncomfortable, and that starts by developing a daily habit of getting uncomfortable. So what does that look like? Take a cold shower. If you're in the hot shower, it feels good. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be even 5 minutes. Take the hot shower and get used to turning the hot cold for 10 seconds. Just make that decision that you're going to get uncomfortable for 10 seconds and then do it a second day and then a third day. And before long, you're going to have a habit of getting uncomfortable. When you feel those butterflies in your gut, whether that's a conversation you need to have with your boss, whether that's a conversation you need to have with your spouse or your partner, have that conversation. Get uncomfortable. If you don't work out, if you're not healthy, start to do something. Go for a walk. Go walk a quarter of a mile, 1 lap around a track, or 5 minutes on a treadmill. Just start to do something uncomfortable every single day that is going to build that habit of doing the uncomfortable, because it doesn't matter what it is, but your growth, your success, your biggest breaks are going to be on the other side of being uncomfortable. So start to get in the habit of getting uncomfortable every single day. Number 2, you need to get around people more successful than you. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care what you do. If you have aspirations, if you have a desire for growth, you need to get around people more successful than you. And you can do this in any number of ways. In real estate, it's very easy because there's meetups everywhere. It doesn't matter when. And even in mergers and acquisitions and businesses, there's a lot of meetups everywhere. In today's world, social media, online presence, you can reach out, you can DM almost everybody. So there's no reason not to get around more successful people. There's local networking groups that you can get around. There is gyms. There is, you name it. There's any number of coaching programs online. Any of your most successful entrepreneurs, your most successful people, they're going to have some form of online coaching, online mentorship. This is no plug for any of them, but you should get around and join a coaching program. Whatever you have aspirations for, whatever you have a desire for, wherever you want to grow, you can join a coaching program to become more successful. And that is one way of joining a community and getting around successful people. So you need to get in those rooms. And again, it starts with number 1, getting uncomfortable every single day, because getting around people who are more successful than you is uncomfortable. It's not for the faint of heart, and because they're going to pull you, they're going to challenge you, they're going to make you move to the next level. So you need to be used to getting uncomfortable. Last and definitely not least, I've alluded to it, I've talked about it, I've mentioned it, but you need to cultivate gratitude in your life. If you're a person that's not grateful, if you have zero gratitude in your body, you need to, again, remove that label and start to be grateful every single day. Because if you're grateful for waking up, you're going to take every day, you're going to take every minute and use it to its fullest potential. And you'll realize that you just have a responsibility to move forward. You have a responsibility to grow. You have a responsibility to get in these rooms and to do something daily to move yourself forward, because that's where progress happens. That's where you're going to feel the best about yourself. And it's a continuous loop where when you're grateful, great things are going to happen in your life. You're going to attract great things. You're going to attract opportunities. You're going to attract great people, which in turn is going to give you more opportunities, which is going to get you around more people. It's going to create more gratitude in your life. You're going to be more happy. You're going to be more fulfilled. You're going to see all of the good in your life, which in turn is going to get more opportunities. It's going to get you around more people. So it's a constant cycle. So when you're grateful, opportunities come, people come, everything gets better, which in turn creates more gratitude. So you're going to be just extremely blessed. You're going to be just feeling on top of the moon, which in turn is going to attract more. There's a saying, there's a scripture, there is one of my favorite Bible verses is, the world of the generous gets larger and larger. And when you're grateful and generous with that gratitude, when you're generous with yourself to that gratitude, your world is going to get larger and larger. So thanks everyone for watching another episode of the Labelless Podcast. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Definitely go check out the other episodes if you haven't already. Again, they're going to help you remove labels from your life. They're going to help you move forward in life. They're going to get you around other people. They're going to introduce you to other successful entrepreneurs who are moving forward, because all of their information is always linked in the description. And so they're going to put you in touch with people who can actually help you hit your goals. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure you follow the Instagram and the other medias as well, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.